Okay, I'm just going to talk about mortars today, and the first one I'm going to talk about is OPC, ordinary Portland cement. Makes a really dense mortar, so with this you have to have a plasticizer, and with it being a dense mortar, it's only good when you use a dense brick, because what we must remember is a mortar must never be stronger than the brick that you're using. So even if you're going to use a London brick, which is quite a dense clay brick, you can get away with using this mortar, but again you would have to have a plasticizer. So this definitely with an engineering brick or a semi-engineering, and you can get away with using a London brick, but even when I use these I will use an alternative plasticizer, which is our next mortar, which is hydrated lime. Now hydrated lime is an alternative plasticizer, one of the original plasticizers, and this also gives a softer mortar. So when you're using a brick such as a soft handmade, softer brick, softer mortar, so this should be used in conjunction with the OPC that we had before. Now this lime will never ever go off. It will just, if you just mix it, left it in water, it will just stay in a wet state. It will never ever set. So this is why you have to have this with OPC. But again, like I said, it does make a softer mix. So the OPC with this is a good mix for, like I said, these softer bricks, and I will use these ones as well. Okay. Now just going back to the OPC, when you're using this with engineering bricks, you'll be looking at using a 3-1 mix. When you use a face brick, you'd be looking at a 5 to a 6-1 mix. Going back to the hydrated lime, when you use this, again you would use it with the OPC, but you will mix, for these, softer brick, softer mortar, you'd be looking at a 1-1-6, which is 1 cement, 1 lime, and 6 of sand. Or my favourite mix is a 9-2-1. Okay, now there are 3 different types of lime. So you've got the hydrated, which as we just said will never go off. When we move on to the hydraulic lime is like what the Romans used to use. This is the original lime, and this was in the days before OPC was invented. Now this has the same properties as OPC, where it will set even underwater. Okay, so the 2 things that sets this is water, so that's hydration, and also carbonation. And carbonation just means the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will help set this off as well. This type of hydraulic lime is used in restoration work, work on churches, like old buildings and things like that. So a really, really good mortar, and like I said, just used on its own with sand. And when you use this, you would normally use a gritty sand as well, just to keep it as they did years ago. Now our last lime is our slate lime, which is a putty, and if I just take this off, you can see that this one is in water. I don't know if you can see this, but there's the putty. So you can tell that this one is, let's say, it's called a semi-hydraulic, and obviously this one does not set in water. It's kept in water to keep it in the state it's in, but it will set. It takes a long time to set. You've got 2 ways of doing it. You could just use it with the sand, and it will set in carbonation. It won't set with the hydration with the water, but carbonation. So over a long period of time, with the carbon dioxide in the air, in the atmosphere, this will go off. But if you're going to be doing face work or anything, some architects will ask for what they call a popsilen, which is like a stone or a brick dust that you would put in with this, with your sand. So just going back to the hydraulic lime, you can see that the strength of this one is 3.5. You get a 1, which is called feeble hydraulic. This one is medium hydraulic, and then you get the eminently hydraulic, which is a 5. So you get the 1, 3.5, which everyone uses, and the 5. I have to be honest, I've never seen a 1 and I've never seen a 5. This is the only one that I've ever seen. This you would use, they often tell you the mixes on here, you've got 1-1, a 2-1 mix or a 3-1 mix, and they can sort of go to a 4, although I've never used a 4. Whenever I've used this, it's always been a 2-1 or a 3-1 mix. Quite expensive, but again, you have to use it when you're on restoration work. The same with this one, and again this would be in the same proportions as what your hydraulic lime is as well. This one is good for arches, and the bag stuff is good for just normal brickwork and stonework. Okay, so that's basically a quick little rundown on mortars.